Alright guys, welcome back to another Metalstorm video, and today I am going to be unlocking and flying the MiG-21. This video was requested by, I'll put the comment on screen right now. There you go. So I'm going to be buying the MiG-21. I have no experience with this jet, so this is going to be a blind review, but based on what we know already, the MiG-21 is a light fighter, and light fighters are great at being fast and agile. It has good maneuverability, low hit points, but you're not going to be brawling in this jet anyway, right? It's a light fighter. Good speed, maneuverability, acceleration, and it has 6 missiles. So this thing got some firepower. So with that said, let's go ahead and unlock it now. Let's try this thing out in a match and see how we do. I'll give you guys some pointers for all the beginners out there who want to learn how to fly the MiG-21. Let's get into it. Alright, so here you can see we have a match of Air Superiority. There's one new player on their team. Okay. Right away you can see that we've already reached top speed because of our amazing acceleration. That's one of the advantages of this jet. It has great acceleration. And let me just go ahead and test it in a turn. No afterburner. And you can see that it blades speed quite slowly. You can maintain your ideal turn speed for quite a while. There's an enemy F-100 coming over, which brings me to the point. Use the terrain to your advantage, right? You're in a light fighter and you don't have a lot of hit points to spare. So you want to limit your exposure as much as possible. And remember, this jet is quite fast, so you can always use your speed to disengage from an unfavorable fight. Reposition, and then re-engage. Using the terrain to your advantage, using your speed to your advantage, and your agility makes for a great combination. You won't be able to keep up with things like F5s or Delta Wings in prolonged turn fights or one-circle engagements, but you can hold your own for a while. Which brings me to my next point, your reserve fuel. I highly recommend conserving your reserve fuel for prolonged engagements because you'll need as much speed as you can get. And I'm rubber banding, great. But yeah. Reserve your extra fuel for turn fights and prolonged engagements because you'll need all the speed you can get. This thing, especially in vertical fights, right? This thing does not like to go up. It bleeds speed very quickly when you start doing loops with it, as you can see right there. So try not to do vertical fights or get stuck in prolonged turn fights without reserve fuel, because most likely you'll end up losing because of those disadvantages you have. You bleed speed very quickly in those kind of fights, so you need to avoid those as much as possible. Another point I want to bring up is the cannons on the MiG-21 aren't very strong. It can fire for a really long time, which is great, but it's pretty weak. So you don't want to take head-ons with things like attackers, for example. You will not win. You can see how little damage it did there to that A6. The lag dragged me into the mountain. One of the good things about the MiG-21 is that you get 6 missiles, 6 IR missiles, and these missiles can make up for the lack of damage on the cannons. They have a pretty short lock time, so you can get at least 2 to 3 off in quick succession, and that can score you kills. Unfortunately, I do end up losing this match. This wasn't an ideal demonstration, but I do hope you guys get what I'm saying. To summarize, use your speed and agility to your advantage. Avoid prolonged turn fights and vertical fights, and avoid head-ons. While this thing can do pretty well in head-ons against other light fighters, you should not be prioritizing going head-on with every jet you see. They will destroy you. You're a light fighter, you don't have a lot of HP, your damage is mediocre at best, even with the missiles because they're pretty weak. Other jets will have higher damage output on their missiles, especially if it's something like an aardvark. You get shot by a radar missile, then it's game over. You really need to avoid getting hit, so I recommend using terrain to your advantage to limit your exposure as much as possible. Don't get seen and don't get hit. It would be better for you to flank your enemy or attack them from behind. And avoid fighting in contested areas. You're a light fighter. I cannot emphasize this enough. Light fighters have a small HP pool, which means you're not going to be spearheading attacks. Your role is going to be that of an assassin. You pick off enemies as they come towards your side of the map. Whenever there's an opportunity to snag a kill, you take it, but you're not going to be leading the engagement, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's move on to TDM to see how this thing performs. Alright, here we go. Unreal player. Okay, so this is going to be a 1v1. 4 bots in each team. So, if you watch my How to Dogfight video, you know that speeding towards the center, especially as a light fighter, isn't a good idea. What you want to do is flank your enemy. Just flying off to the side here, and then re-engaging from the sides. You can see we ended up behind this J-35, and we're quickly able to fire off our missiles. Narrowly avoided a MiG-19 there. That would have been devastating. We're gonna use our speed to disengage here. Nice. So using the missiles we have is going to be our main damage source. I missed the rearm. What you don't want to do is end up slow in this jet. Instead of trying to fight for positioning, disengage and then reposition. That is the ideal option. Remember, you don't have to stay in a losing engagement. you always have the option to disengage. Even though it does have great acceleration and speed, once you get below your ideal turn speed, it becomes very difficult to regain the speed you lost. Which, if you remember the point I made earlier, it's important to reserve your extra fuel in your drop tank for prolonged turn fights or engagements, because you really need that extra speed, that extra burst of speed when you're maneuvering for such long periods of time and bleeding speed, right? So be careful with your fuel. You only get 9 seconds of fuel. Your drop tank gives you an extra 9 seconds, but once that extra fuel has been used, you go back to having 9 seconds. So you need to be very cautious of how often you use your afterburn. So I highly recommend avoiding vertical fights if you can, or prolonged turn fights. And if I didn't mention this earlier, avoid head-ons as much as possible. If you don't have to, don't take one. Especially if you don't have any missiles left, because the gun on this jet is pretty weak. You don't want to be caught in a head-on without your missiles. We got pretty lucky there because of our teammates helping us out. But yeah, as a light fighter, what you want to be doing is using the terrain as much as possible to limit your exposure. If you aren't exposed, you can't be shot at. And if you don't get shot at, you're not taking damage. And remember, you don't have a lot of HP to spare in the first place. So using ambush tactics is a great way to stay alive in this jet. Pop up behind your enemy and you can fire off at least 2 missiles before they can land. It's like barrage fire on the F5, but without it being a special ability. That's how good the lock time on these missiles are. But anyway, here you can see that we perform pretty well in TDM. I actually think this jet is pretty versatile and it performs well in both Air Superiority and TDM. So that's great. It's a great step up from the F5 if you're willing to trade 2 degrees of turn rate for more firepower and higher top speed. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything left to say about the MiG-21. It's a pretty decent light fighter. It has surprisingly good energy retention and decent firepower, decent damage output. The gun is a bit weak, but it does make up for it with the amount of missiles it carries, IR missiles. So I think in the right hands, it can perform very well, especially once you unlock the special ability which gives it a boost in thrust. So there you go, the MiG-21. If you guys found this video helpful, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.